Thank you everyone for the comments on the previous video about two different speakers that were compared in my room. And I love the feedback that everyone gave me as far as what they feel they hear or are able to pick up, through their system and DAC and headphones or whatnot. The previous video, on the previous video, I was using Luxman, using the DCS DAC straight into the Luxman amplifier and Cardus Clear beyond speaker cables, as well as Cardus Clear beyond interconnects from the DAC into the Luxman 900U. One single Luxman, mind you. I am not using monos. I'm only using a single Luxman stereo amplifier to drive the speakers. And my findings are the following. Number one, I do find that speaker number one is essentially the speaker that, I don't know, the mids do sound a little more prominent. I do feel like the mids are bolder, I would say, if that's the right term. The high frequencies are all very tall, but they're not as tall as speaker number two. The bottom end is something that is very hard, guys, to get on camera, on video. It's very difficult because I feel like the camera, really, the video camera or whatever you use, doesn't really capture the bass correctly on just about any speaker. And the reason why I say that is because I have heard my own recordings before I post videos. So, I think out of every video I posted, just keep this in mind, the only thing that I feel doesn't get correctly translated through a recording is the bass. It's the most difficult thing to get correctly when I record videos, okay? But you have an idea, but just remember it is the least accurate representation of the entire spectrum of the speaker, of any speaker that I have here, okay? Speaker number two. Very, very big sounding wall. I mean, it sounded wall to wall, bigger than speaker number one. It sounded wider. It was definitely smoother. Some of you mentioned that on my previous comment. It is a more smooth, it's just smoother, relaxed presentation, less fatiguing. Not that number one is fatiguing. It's not fatiguing. It's just number two tends to be, not rolled off, but it's more it's silkier, okay? As far as resolution, I would say number one has a little more resolution, but you have to be looking for it. You have to pay attention closely. You really have to sit down, close your eyes, and let the presentation come to you, and then you're able to tell more or less, what's what, in terms of resolution. And what's shocking to me, guys, is that the entire time I am listening to both and hearing both, and they both did a phenomenal job. I mean, really, both speakers really, surprised me in different ways. One was, more relaxed, more forgiving with older recordings. Okay, number two was certainly a lot more forgiving with something older. You put 60s, the Beatles, Elvis, Lynyrd Skynyrd, that type of music. Queen, we all know Queen tends to have music that's a little on the bright side, a little aggressive at times. Number two is going to allow you to play that without a problem. But number one is a lot more explosive. Number one tends to have much more dynamic swings. And that can be a good thing, but also a bad thing. And what I mean by that is if you're a person who listens at 90 decibels, and I know some of you guys do. If not, then you need to start using your phone, download an application on your phone, and then measure how loud you listen to your music. I would love to know, actually, on the comments below, how loud you listen to your music. When you go back to your systems today, do me a favor, guys. Go back, listen to your music at the volume you normally listen at, and let me know on the comments below how loud you play your music. I want to have a point of reference to see if I'm listening to music too loud or is basically the average. But right now I'm averaging around 80 decibels, 81, peaks of 85, but average of about 81 to 80. Okay. And I want to know how loud you guys listen. My wife was here listening to this last night, and obviously she doesn't Doesn't know a lot of the terminology that we all know. She mentioned that she felt number two was a little too much for her. There was a lot too much information. There was too much in her face. She felt that it's kind of like when you're in the front row of a theater and you're listening to a live performance and you're right behind the speakers, that you get this blast of music that it becomes overwhelming. She felt that number two gave her that feeling, that impression of too much of a good thing, if that makes any sense. She preferred number one by far. She said number one, in her opinion, was the speaker that she feels is a lot more to her liking. And what she meant by that is that the scale of the music is not overwhelmingly big and it's not too much to handle. With that said, number two was the Dynadio C4 Platinum, which I already took out and they're in the corner. And number one was the Wilson. So there you have it. I wanted to put this video out there for you guys to hear it from your own, with your own headphones and ears, to be able to say, hey, I like this better. To me, what did it do? Honestly, with me, what it did was to give me a lot of perspective. One of the things that I realized here, guys, and this could be something that I'm starting to think about. I'm not going to make a move right now unless something happens, but I don't think I'm going to make a move with speakers. But guys, I'm starting to like the massive presentation of the Dynaudios here. Remember when I had it at the beginning of my journey? If you go back maybe 10, 12 videos ago, you'll be able to see when I first started talking about them. Now, when I started talking about them, I didn't have what I have right now, or the combination of components and cabling that I am using now with them. And they have totally transformed the sound. I mean, you heard it last night. I mean, you guys heard them. And mind you, I had them next to the Wilsons. They were literally right next to them, standing next to them, literally in line with the Wilson. That's where they were when they were playing. Okay. And when you heard, the Wilson audios were without the Dynaudios next to them. Okay. The Wilson audios were as you see them right now with nothing. Okay. The Dynaudios just sat next to the Wilson audio, standing on the outer part of the Wilson on the sides, and they played music there. Okay. And they were not correctly placed. I will give you that. But I was impressed by the height of the sound. I was impressed by the the width, the depth of the sound. The bottom end was there. Now, there is one thing that does happen with the C4s, and that is when you push them hard, and I mean very hard, you can hear those woofers beginning to almost bottom out. Okay. And that is expected, guys. I mean, we're talking 86, 87 decibels of sound, very loud. Okay. It's things that I wouldn't be able to sustain for a long period of time here. But if you're 80, 82, those C4s can hang, no problem. But the reason why I posted the video is because, it was actually food for thought for me more than anything. And I just wanted to bring you guys closer to what I'm doing here. And what it's given me leading me to believe is that I think my room just wants taller speakers. I think my room likes a taller speaker along the lines of a Dynaudio, the design that they have, or maybe an electrostatic, maybe a panel, or just an overall tall speaker like a Sonos Faber Aida, or something along those lines. I think my room is just talking to me now, and the Dynaudio has allowed me yesterday, over the last actually 48 hours, to really hear that, how much better I think things could be in my room. Now, mind you, some of you may not like this crazy soundstage that I like. I enjoy a big presentation. I enjoy feeling like I'm inside the music. I enjoy the feeling of being completely surrounded. And every time the tweeter sizzles, I feel like the sizzling is coming all the way on the side walls and right behind my head. I love that feeling. That is something that I look for constantly when I do videos, when I try to tweak equipment, when I try to use cabling. The moment I feel that goes out the window and it's not happening, then I feel like I went backwards. But that's my personal opinion. That's my taste. That doesn't mean you guys would like that type of presentation. I am a sucker for big sound, big, tall, wide, and deep sound. Those are the biggest things for me. And last night's video was a revelation of that. Definitely number two, it sounds bigger. It's a lot. Obviously it is smoother. But maybe you like number one, and that's fine. My wife loved number one, which is the Sasha, and that's totally fine. But I think the Dying Audio had given me a lot to think about. So we will see what changes occur pretty soon. I don't know if it's going to happen right now, given the situation that we're all encountering with the coronavirus. But maybe I will make a change, a speaker change here. I can tell you one thing: it probably won't be something that I've already had. Put it that way. That much I can tell you. If I bring another speaker here, it's not going to be something I've already had. And yeah, for all you know, this might be the last few days or weeks of my DAWs here. Who knows? As a matter of fact, I wouldn't mind selling them and just continuing with the Dying Audios for the time being until the stars align for my next big speaker purchase. That would be fine with me too. So stay tuned. More changes to come. Please subscribe. I'm pumping out more videos for you all so you guys can keep staying engaged and follow my journey. I might do a video on the Luxman 590 AX MK2. Sorry, it was the wrong model that I described on the previous video. This is actually the 30 watt Class A Luxman integrated. By the way, I just want to let you guys know, it isn't just 30. It's actually a bench. It actually tested on, it put out on the bench 84 watts of Class A. So it's not 30 watts. It's actually 84 watts per channel, Class A, just so you know. It drives my Wilsons no problem and my Dying Audios. So maybe I'll do a comparison between the two, and you guys are able to tell me what you guys feel. Okay, so stay tuned. Thank you guys, and I'll keep pumping out more videos so you guys can continue to enjoy my journey while we're having these crazy hard times.